favor, welcome today. Thank you so much for being here.
It's great to meet you.
Same here, same here. Can you do me a favor and just take a moment and tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do in your business?
Okay, thanks. I'd love to. Basically, I'm a motivational speaker, and I'm a coach, success coach, and seminar leader. And I really work with people all over the world, coaching and talking to and doing workshops online. And I help them discover more about themselves, help them bring out their special gifts. And I create an environment for them to grow. I teach them tools that they can use on an everyday basis that can help them stay motivated for more than a day. Because I know from my life, I have had to work very hard at staying motivated for more than a day. So what I've discovered is after learning about successful people through the years, probably 20 years I've spent studying the successful habits of famous people. And I found that they all have like a system. They all have a way that they motivate themselves. So I put together a formula that works for me, and I'm teaching it to others, called the GUTS formula.
I think that's awesome, and I'm looking forward to hearing about it. Before we get into that, though, can you tell everybody you're a member of the Fernandina Beach chapter? So shout out to you, Lisa Boobin, and all the Fernandina Beach people.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for coming down here. Tell us a little bit about what WOAMTEC has meant for you and your business, and what kind of relationships you've developed with the other members of that chapter.
That's great, Kathleen. I'm a big supporter of WOAMTEC. And I was a little bit worried, I'll be honest with you, being in a small town on an island in Fernandina Beach, Amelia Island. I thought, wow, you know, I'm going to network with the same people all the time. And then I realized that it was so much bigger than that. And I love the fact that it was national and there's over like 1,500 members to network with. And I really like that. I like the conferences and the things that WOAMTEC offers to their members. So I looked at the big picture. And then I started customizing my presentation to more commission-based entrepreneurs and women that are looking to build their businesses, but they might be stuck in one area or another, or they need motivation to go to the next step, or they just need a simple formula to use on a daily basis to get over those struggles.
I think that's important, and you know, one of the things that I have found in doing hundreds of business assessments with people is you're exactly right. If they're self-employed, or if they're entrepreneurs, or if they're commission-based, often they aren't the one that has to pay the mortgage every month and, you know, pay the electric bill every month. So their money is just their extra money, their fun money, their gravy money. It's just, you know, if they can bring it in, that's great. But there's no real strong accountability. So it's easy to have today go to tomorrow, and then tomorrow go to next week, and then before you know it, it's bam, how did it become November, and where did 2012 go? So I love the formula approach, because that's one of the things I teach people is have a formula to stay motivated, but also to become accountable, to stay on track. Because there's nothing wrong if you only make, you know, $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month or whatever that number is going to be, as long as you're not saying I'm going to take my family on a cruise to Europe, or I'm going to win a new car, and then year after year after year not achieving that goal, because it's not what your husband thinks about you, it's not what your kids think about you, as much as what you're psychologically doing to yourself by having a goal, saying you're going to do it, and not doing it. You're defeating yourself. So I think that's important. So how do you stay motivated? Like when life is happening and things are stressful, what do you suggest people do to stay motivated?
They need to learn my GUTS formula.
Okay, well, tell us about it.
Okay, great. It's 4 steps. And quite honestly, I discovered this myself by creating an acronym, because I wanted to remember it, and I felt if I could remember it, anybody can remember it. And each step is a letter in the word. So the GUTS formula starts with a G. It means gain knowledge. And that's something that we all need to do as business entrepreneurs, is to learn more about our business, learn more about our clients, get credentialed if we need to get credentialed, join organizations like WOAMTEC so that we can network and we can be more to all people, and we can become an expert in our field. The U stands for use positive affirmations. So many of the times, we all will say things that we don't realize are affecting our subconscious mind, like, I don't have any money, I don't have enough clients, I'm not good at math. Well, those negative statements go to our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. If it's true or false, it just gives us what we said we are. So I work with people on a daily basis to help them create affirmations that are positive and in the present tense, and something that they can use to empower themselves and to move forward in their lives, and to create that programming in their mind and in their self-talk that will work for them. And then the T stands for train your thoughts. And the National Science Foundation says that we think about 60,000 thoughts a day. So if we think 60,000 thoughts, if half of are positive, then the other half are negative or counterproductive. So I work with groups and individuals on how to change their thinking, how to reprogram those negative thoughts that they may have had growing up. And then the S is set realistic goals and visualize them happening in the present tense. And as you said, Kathleen, that was really good about sometimes I find we set goals that are unrealistic or too big. Well, sure, we want the vacation place in Europe and we want the new car, but if we're only making $1,000 a month and we want that, you know, that trip or that car, you know, there has to be some other steps along the way. So I work with people to define goals more effectively, small, medium, and large, and then the biggest key of it is visualizing it happening. And I do a lot with the mind and just to focus on what you want, but also to visualize that it's already happening. It is current, present tense, because again, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between the past, the present, or the future. So we almost have to trick ourselves.
I think that that's important, and I see that so true. And you know, you hear, do a vision board, have a goal poster, and I can tell you every time my husband and I have ever sat down and really written out, we want to accomplish this by this and this by this, and really have that, we always do it, and we always do it before the date that we said that we were going to do it. But whenever we don't is when a year goes by, and then another year goes by, and before you know it, you know, you've lost control, or you've lost passion, or you know, whatever. You're not as best as you could possibly be. So I want to take a moment and talk about that, because positive affirmations are very important and very powerful. And so when you say not to think the negative thoughts, how important is it really to speak out loud the positive thoughts?
Oh, it's very important, because the audio really gets into the brain, and just hearing yourself talk about it is important. And when you're talking about affirmations, you're either saying them to yourself or you're saying them to other people, and we all do it. So instead of saying, well, Kathleen, I really can't afford your conference, well, your subconscious mind's saying, really? Well, I guess she can't afford it, so she's not going to go, so that's what she wants. But if I said, Kathleen, I can't afford that conference, or I am working towards that conference, to be, you know, it just changes your mind, and it will attract those things to you that are more positive and uplifting and not holding you back. So we have to monitor that self-talk on a daily basis. These are things that we say to ourselves, maybe under our breath, or to other people. But you're right, it is very important, and it is more impactful when you say it out loud.
And teaching your kids these thoughts and teaching your kids these steps, I think, is really important, and they will learn from you, you know, as you do them. You know, something else interesting that just happened is I just had a lady, she had a vision board, and we were talking, and she had this vision board for, I don't know, it was either 10 months or 10 years. It was a very long time, so it wasn't a new board. And she said that it was there and it was overwhelming her. Well, after getting off the phone with me, she actually took everything off the vision board. And she said that the relief that she felt when she had a clear board made her feel so much better, that she was able to really sit back and separate herself from it and really think about it and engage and really define what she was wanting to work on. And it wasn't all that stuff that she thought she needed when she did the vision board. You know, it may be something as simple as time with my children or time for myself. You talked about the formula, and I know the formula is huge, and I teach that all the time, is how do you identify and find somebody that has the formula, that just clicks, that, you know, that knows the steps that they have to take to reach their goal, and solving that for your business. You mentioned 7 steps of highly effective, well, you mentioned steps to highly effective people, and that reminded me of Stephen Covey's book, and I know you've authored a book with him yourself, which is cool. Yes. So talk to me about that. How important are those steps, and how important is it to understand what makes people highly successful?
Wow. That's a big question, and I think I have a big answer.
Okay, good.
I really believe, especially as women, that we have to be working on ourselves all the time, and that's what successful people do, men or women. And they're reading motivational books. They're listening to tapes or CDs or MP3s or whatever the technology allows, and you're supplementing the negative programming that you may have had in your mind growing up. So you have to constantly fill it with something positive. And that's why I joined Success Simplified, the book that I helped co-write with Dr. Stephen Covey and Dr. Ken Blanchard and other professionals, because each of us had a chapter in the book to explain our different theories or different formulas. And of course I talked about my guts formula, and I talked about other successful people. And it's great because it's an easy read, and each person has 15 pages, and it's a wonderful book. I use that in talking to direct sales professionals and their groups and their teams when I do a workshop. And it's something that if you need a quick fix, you can just turn to the book and you can get, 15 pages of motivation, which is really, really helpful. I pick it up all the time and learn something new.
Well, I know I've read lots of Dr. Covey's books, and so you to co-author with him, I think that's amazing, and that's quite an accomplishment. And I know there has to be tons of valuable information in this, and I'm excited to say that you're actually giving away 3 of these today.
I am.
So let's come up with some ways to give away these books. I think that the first thing is you said that you consult with people all over the world. I think that's very cool. And how do you consult with people all over the world?
I use Skype. I think many people know what that is by now, and it's great because you can do audio and video, so you can see and talk, and it's easy to use. The transmission is excellent. It's like they're in the same room. I've got a client in Hong Kong. I've got a client in Belgium and England, so it's really easy to do, and it's a lot of fun.
So when you got this client in Belgium, that's so cool. How did you develop that relationship with this person, and how do you help them? They give you the challenge and you kind of walk them through steps. What do you typically do to help somebody get to the next level of their life?
That's a good point. Well, the one in Hong Kong, actually, I met on Amelia Island of all places. And they transferred to Hong Kong, so I kept up that relationship. I was coaching her locally and then internationally. So that was really cool. And what I do is we go through the guts formula, and we talk about all the steps. And it's been an ongoing. We've been working together for 2 years actually. Okay. And other people can be as short as 6 weeks, or it could be. I have a coach that I work with it's been over 12 years. So I really believe in coaching, and I believe that everybody needs one. And they may need one for a little while, they may need one for a long while, and depending on what they want to work on. So that's pretty much empowering. And a lot of people are going through changes and transitions, especially us as women, because we have so many things to balance with our home life and work life and children.
And hormones. No.
Well, that too. But I refer them to a doctor for that.
So when you're working with people, okay, let's talk about this book. The person, let's give one away to the person that is the farthest that is online. So if you could tell C. Rivas, our fabulous webmaster, where you're located, somebody will receive this book. And it says, let me just tell you, ever wonder why you feel like you're on a treadmill, trying to go fast and juggling many different tasks while trying to please everyone? You're not alone. These days it seems that everyone is trying to grab the gold ring, but the carousel is going too fast and too complicated to find competent strategies to reach out and actually grasp it. And I know a lot of our people are feeling that way. So if you're feeling that way, tell C what city and state you live in and you're watching now, and you can be the winner of one of these books. Now, if they're not the winner, how much it's $19.95?
$19.95, but I posted a special on my website at www.worldonastring.com. It's $14.95, and that includes tax and shipping.
Okay, awesome. So for $14.95, you can't afford not to do something like that.
I know.
I tell people that reading, like I read constantly. I try and always learn. Tanya says I'm always working, but I try and always learn. And it's really funny because it really does refresh your mind. It keeps you focused. And I can tell you now would be a good time as we end out the year and you get ready for starting 2013 to really get rid of that stinking thinking, to get rid of those negative things that you're saying to yourself, and start thinking positive affirmations to make all your 2013 goals come true. Now, I did say that we were going to talk a little bit about bullying. We mentioned hormones. We might as well talk about teenage hormones, because so many things happen for teenagers. If you're a mom, or if you have a brother or a sister or a nephew or a niece that's out there that is in their teenage years, can you just take a moment and tell us about the nonprofit that you and your husband have, and what it's for, and what you do, and how it might help others?
Okay, great. We developed a nonprofit called In Search of Me Cafe, and it is a website for teens. It's a self-help online website, and it is awesome. There's probably 12 different categories. It covers bullying, it covers underage drinking, sex, drugs, self-esteem, you name it. And it's a resource for kids, for teens, and also it has videos, it has articles, it has downloads for them to learn and also to interact with each other. We recently put this program into 2 boys and girls clubs on Amelia Island. and it's been very successful. One of the clubs has increased their teen participation and retention 230%.
Wow.
Because teens want to be in their own space. They want to be talking about what they want to talk about, and it's a safe environment for them to work with, like a unit director in this Boys and Girls Club, for example, will lead them through a curriculum, let's say bullying, and they will work as a group to review videos, to talk among themselves, and to get clarity on what is the right way to handle bullying. What are tips and techniques that they can use? And if something is more serious, there are hotlines. Not that bullying isn't serious, but it has something for everybody. It's all different levels, from the very, very basic thing to the most extreme. And it's vetted by professionals. The content is from professionals and doctors, psychologists, and a lot of research has gone into it. So our goal is twofold. Number one is to connect with other Boys and Girls Clubs or character-driven organizations around the country. To work with Rotary clubs to maybe get grants to put the program into a Boys and Girls Club there, as we did in Fernandina Beach, Florida. And we also, in a few months, but actually by the end of the year, we're going to be offering subscriptions. So they are also like scholarships. So for I think it's $120 a year or $10 a month, somebody can gift a teen the subscription. So they can be on it, all the time, whenever they want. It's available to them. And we think it's a great gift, and it's a way that they can have valuable content. The content is always being updated. That's what my husband does, Stan Cottle. He is like Mr. Video, Mr. Techie, and he is very, very passionate about this. Actually, this was his idea. So it's very exciting, and it's so needed. As I told you before, we have a 19-year-old. So our son Connor has been sort of like a lab rat for us, and with his friends, so we've learned a lot just through our own experiences.
I think that's great, and I think that it's so wonderful that you're giving back. And that's how true charities and nonprofits always start, is when you see a need, you feel a need, and that you become passionate about, and then you want to give it back to help others. And I've worked with a lot of children who are aging out of foster care in all of our volunteer work that we've done throughout the state of Florida. And I know there are a lot of young adults that wouldn't have a chance, that desperately need help. And with the bullying that's going on, and the mass murders that you hear about that happen in schools, and all of those things may be able to be prevented if you educate people, share the love, provide a support system. So I think that's great. Now, as we wrap up, I just want to know, tell us a little bit about how can we help you? Like, I know you've got a wealth of information because you're a speaker, you're a coach, you do workshops, you do webinars. So if you're out there and if you need educated or motivated or empowered or just guidance or steps to the next level, if you're feeling just kind of stuck in a rut and you need some extra help, I want to encourage you to reach out to Deb and connect via Facebook or the WOAMTEC directory, but tell them for a moment what they can do to what do you need? Like, how can they help either you or your nonprofit?
Great. I want to help everyone. I want to help empower women all over the world to be all they can be. And that's my main goal, and however long it takes me to do that, I'll keep working at it. And also with teens, I want to empower teens so that they get the resources and the confidence so that they can avoid some of these horrible things that are happening to them in the teenage years. But you can go to my website at worldonastring.com. You can buy products that I've discounted for WOAMTEC members. You can also sign up for a free class that I'll be giving that'll go through the 4-step GUTS formula. You can sign up for that. And with In Search of Me Cafe, you can go to insearchofmecafe.com and you can look at the site, and there's a donate button, and we're always looking for donations to keep up the technology, the website development, and now with scholarships. So.
Okay. That's awesome. And
Yeah,
one last
thanks.
question I have for you.
Okay.
What has been the biggest challenge, obstacle, hurdle that you've had to overcome in business, and how did you overcome that?
I would say, just recently I'm realizing this was a problem that actually has gone from my childhood to my adulthood, and that's bullying. I'm 4'11" 3/4", and I was always bullied when I was little, physically and emotionally, and I carried into my professional world and was bullied a lot there as well. And I realized that being an entrepreneur now and in my own business, I'm really helping a lot of people overcome anything that they have that they may feel is an obstacle. I don't feel like my height is an obstacle at all anymore. I feel like I'm 6 foot tall, but it does come back, and I don't understand why people find that funny or something that they need to tease me about. So from personally experiencing that, I do follow my guts formula, and I use that every day, and I also help empower other people to become the best that they can be and to stay motivated to accomplish their dreams, because we all can do anything we want if we just believe we can do it and then work towards it in a really positive way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we wrap up, tell us again, G stands for what?
Gain knowledge.
Okay, U stands for?
Use positive affirmations.
T stands for?
Train your thoughts.
And then last but not least, S?
Set realistic goals and visualize them happening.
Okay, thank you so much for being a guest on today's show. It's a pleasure to have you here.